Alexandra, a psychic spiritual counselor, and welcome to Alexandra's Psychic Eye. As our higher self expands and develops, our everyday life will also undergo changes. We'll witness unexplainable and unlikely events as two worlds begin to meld together. Visitations from the spirit world, psychic warnings, even a message of gratitude from beyond the grave. If you think it only happens in the movies, guess again, because these are the experiences of our guest today. So keep watching. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Joe Lani is a retired NYPD detective sergeant. On 9/11, Joe was one of the many who had been instrumental in cleaning away the debris from the catastrophic events that occurred on that day. Recently, however, Joe has come to a spiritual awakening of his own, one concerning his connection with the spirit world and the ability to communicate with those who have passed on. Good to see you, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you and I kind of met in very strange kind of coincidental circumstances. Apparently, we go to the same vet, got Fluffy here, and my sidekick, and you found my card on the ground, and you called me up and said, "Do I have a story for you?"
Right.
So before we go into your stories, because they are amazing, what made you become a police officer to start?
I was a sheriff's deputy in Florida, where I lived early on.
Really?
And where I went to school, and basically came back to New York. 20-year retirement, good job, and if I'm gonna be a policeman, I want to do it in New York.
All right. Now, as a retired police detective sergeant, paranormal experiences are not really, your thing. It's more, your job is very fact-based.
Right.
You have this evidence. It's all about evidence.
Correct.
Proof. So it must have been very hard for you when you had these paranormal experiences with spirits to, how did you put this into your world, your thinking? It must have been very confusing for you. And what helped you to accept these experiences?
Well, thinking back, I always had what I call good intuition. I always kind of knew what somebody was thinking, what somebody meant by, what they said. I would say to people, no, they didn't mean that, they meant this. Always had good intuition that way, and
so it was always kind of there.
Always kind of there, but never thought anything other than
You
it
thought
was good
you were
intuition.
intuitive.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Now, what were your duties on 9/11, and were you aware of any paranormal experiences in the midst of the chaos of that day? What happened?
Well, I was home. I wasn't at the incident when it initially happened. I didn't go up there till a couple of hours later on that day.
Right.
And basically, it was it was chaos up there, and just trying to get things settled down. Not until I was assigned to the Fresh Kills landfill about 2 weeks later on did I really get full throttle into the World Trade Center disaster.
Now, when you got into Fresh Kills, what happened that was your paranormal experience? What did you experience that was, you would consider the paranormal, out of the ordinary, strange, unexplainable, unusual?
Well, again, I would know, not knowing anything that I know now, I would be able to sense if we were going to find a victim. I would
What
say,
would you feel?
I would just know. We're going to find somebody today. We're going to find something or someone that's identifiable. I just had a sense of that. And again, not
You just had
not
a
knowing
feeling.
anything other than that.
You just had a lot of precognitions.
Yes.
Now, when you were a fireman in Florida, you started to display your psychic gifts even then. How did you experience it? What happened? What kind of psychic experiences did you have as a fireman in Florida?
Well, again, before we would turn in for the night, I would tell the guys we're going to have a house fire tonight, or a structure fire.
And they looked at you like you were nuts.
Right, and we would have that house fire or structure fire.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Again.
Let me not have you over. Again, yeah?
No, again, you know, not knowing anything other than that was my sense, and
You just thought,
I
this
threw
is
it
the
out.
way I am.
Right.
Right, you didn't realize that you were unusual and gifted and all that.
Well, I always knew I was unusual.
Yes, but right, okay.
Right.
Now, 2.5 years ago, you had a spiritual, let's say, epiphany. You woke up one night, you saw what people call a ghost,
Right.
standing there in front, right in front of you, foraging through your bedroom drawers. Tell us about that. Tell us what happened. That's a very strange experience.
Yes. I was in the process of redoing my house, what they call a roof raise.
Right.
And everything's kind of in disarray. My grandfather had passed away a couple of months prior, and my father was sending me a ring that I wear, which was given from my grandmother to my grandfather
The
for
diamond ring.
right, for their 50th wedding anniversary.
Right.
I was waiting for the ring to be FedExed to me, and that night I woke up and I saw what looked like I would describe it as a Christmas ornament almost.
Really?
White, glittering, about 4 feet tall, with, I call it a female. I knew it was female, I don't know how, but with her back
It was
to
more like
me.
a sense that it was a female?
Yes.
Okay. Could it have been the
thick,
red lipstick that she was wearing?
no lipstick.
No lipstick, okay.
And I looked, I just woke up and I looked, and she turned. In other words, I woke up behind her, and she was looking
Wow.
at my jewelry. She turned, and as soon as
God.
she saw me looking at her, she disappeared.
That must have, like, you must have been blown away by that. It's scary, confusing, frightening. You don't know what to feel.
Actually, I know what I saw. I woke up in the morning, I was kidding with everybody that I had a dream about Paris Hilton, because it was that color hair.
Okay.
And then at that
That
point, I
white
started to
hair,
realize
yeah.
that what I saw was, you know, something quite different.
Now, some people would just say you had a dream, you're imagining things, but you know, you're someone with a background. You know, you don't have like you're not on medication.
Right.
You're not psychotic. You're not schizophrenic. You know, you're a retired, detective sergeant.
Right.
So you would be someone more likely that someone would say, well, if he says it, it's got to be so. What made you? What do you think the spirit was doing?
I think it possibility that it was my grandmother or my grandfather looking to see if the ring had arrived yet. That's what I
Aha,
believe.
Interesting.
Now, some people have said to me, well, they would know if the ring was there or not.
Right.
Good point, but I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. I know what I saw.
Or maybe this spirit wanted you to know you see spirits,
Right.
that spirit exists.
Right.
In other words, they weren't there for the purpose of looking for the ring. They were there for the purpose of showing you, look, we never die.
Right.
We're
That I'm
spirit,
here.
and here I am. And
Right.
I know about the ring, and
Right.
I'm looking for it. Now, has anyone in your family ever had an interest in the paranormal? Is there anyone else in your family that has these kinds of experiences that you do?
Well, my father has always been somewhat psychic, interested in mediums,
Really?
in the spirit world. My grandmother was, from what I was told, very psychic. She actually saw major events, the Hindenburg blimp,
Wow.
the airship exploding before, and some other things that she was really right on the money with.
My God.